All right, we are back to take a look at our review for Chapter 7, getting prepared for our assessment, our summative assessment that will be taking place next time you come into Schoology. Yesterday, I gave you a hint about how to go about solving this problem here. I said that we need to make sure we are multiplying the money divided by the number of minutes, and I showed you on my calculator why that might be the best way to go. Today, we're going to go ahead and continue that problem. For this problem, we would do 30 divided by 150, and let's make All right, let's take a look at the bottom of our first page of our review packet. Yesterday, when we were working on the introduction for this review, I went over the first problem and then I gave you a huge hint. I told you the strategy to use, and we looked at a couple of reasons why we do the price divided by the minutes and how logical our answer is. So let's go ahead and finish this problem quickly. We take our price divided by our number of minutes, and we get a decimal. The decimal here on my calculator is only 2/10. But when we are talking about money notation, we have 20 cents written with 2 decimal places. Our dollar sign goes in front of the money. So I'm going to go ahead and put my dollar signs in all those boxes. Clearing my calculator, I go on to the next one, which is $40 divided by 100 minutes. And again, I get a decimal that only has one place. But in order to write money, I'm going to add that 0 because that does not change the value. My last problem on this page is $50 divided by 200 minutes. And that gives me 25 cents per minute. That's what I was trying to figure out. So I'm going to move this out of my way, and let's take a look at the end of this page. We have a question that encourages us to analyze the table and the math that we did so we can compare our cell plans. Which company offers the lowest price per minute? When we do the math, the lowest price per minute would be this one here. So that would be Verizon. What steps did you take to figure out the price per minute? We divided price by minutes. And that's what we wanted to do. Price per minute divided price by the minutes. All right, let's move on to our next page. At the top here, we have our KCF, keep, change, and flip. I keep my first fraction when I'm working through this. I change the sign from division to multiplication, and I flip the second fraction. I rewrite this problem because it tells me to show the work. If I show the work, it's easier for me to be more precise. Multiplying straight across, I go 4 times 9, which is 36. 5 times 8 is 40. You can go ahead and leave that fraction exactly the way it is and just move it up here as your answer. If you would like to try to reduce that down, you certainly can. It reduces down to 9/10 if I'm going to the smallest possible version. And I'm going to write the word or in here. The next problem that we have to do, 4/9 change to multiplication, flip the second fraction, multiplying straight across, 32 ninths. And again, I can write that up here. As a 6th grade teacher, I'm fine with you doing what you're doing here. If you want to change this, the best way to do it is to think how many groups of 9, whole groups of 9 can I take out of 32? And that would be 3 whole groups of 9. 3 times 9 gives me 27. Then I subtract the 27 from the 32 and I end up with 5 left over. And this is certainly another accurate answer. As long as I write that 9 to look like a 9. And my last keep, change, flip is 2/5. I keep, change to multiplication, and I flip, and I end up with 16/15, which is fine. Or I can think how many whole groups of 15 are in 16, and that would be 1, with 1 left over. So I would have 1 and 1/15. The simplified version is the better version for many teachers in the future. Right now, I think that we're good with what we got going. And moving on to variable expressions and inverse operations. All right. Whenever there's an X there, I fill in the missing steps and it says pick a number. That's what I did. I don't know exactly what my number is, but this tells me I'm picking a number. Double it means I do 2 times X. And that's how I can write it. 2 times X means I have 2 X's, which is the same as multiplying or doubling it. Add 4, I would take what's right up here and I add 4. Now to go from this step to this step, I have to think, what did I do? And it looks like I'm going from 2x to 4x, 4 to 8, so it looks like I am doubling it. So I double it again. And then it says I need to divide by 4. So 4x divided by 4 is x. 8 divided by 4 is 2. And if I subtract the original number, I end up with a number 2. Moving on to the distributive property. This was one that was kind of tough for some of us when we were doing our practice and our problems earlier this week and at the end of last week. I need to make sure that I multiply into the parentheses to both of the things that are in the parentheses. So 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 4 is 12. For this one, I'm dividing out. So I look for my greatest common factor. And for this case, it's 14, which is kind of a weird one. But I'm going to put the 14 not only underneath here, but I'm going to put it in front of the parentheses. And I've got 14x divided by 14. That gives me x. 28 divided by 14 gives me 2. And then again, we're going to multiply in. So I'm going to multiply 4 times 4x and 4 times 12. Remember, you can get your calculator out, or even better, your multiplication table. 4 times 4x gives me 16x. 4 times 12 gives me 48. Remember, you need to do what you're doing to both of the numbers. All right, and then we've got another page here. Inequalities. Oh, goodness. This was what we did at the end of our unit. This one here, I'm going to try to get the x by itself. To do that, I subtract 2 from both sides of the expression because I want to keep it balanced. Then I end up with 2 subtract 2 is 0. 17 subtract 2 is 15, and that symbol is the less than symbol. I'm going to pick a place on my number line. I'm going to write the number 15 and leave the circle open, and all of my possible answers are that way. This next one, I am going to start by subtracting 14, and that gives me -2 equals 2x. In order to get the answer here, I am going to divide this by 2, divide this by 2. 2x divided by 2 just gives me x by itself. -2 divided by 2 gives me 1, which is a negative. And I know this one was confusing and hard, but we're going to have x, we're going to have -1, and we're going to fill it in. And then for this one, we are going to go ahead and we're going to add 16 to both sides because I want to try and get the 3x by itself. This ends up being 0 because a negative and a positive of the same number balance each other out. This equals 33. 3x is bigger than 33, but I'm going to divide because I want to have that x by itself. I'm going to divide it by 3. And then I end up having this turn into a giant 1. So I have x is bigger than 11. Put my number here, put my 11, and x needs to be bigger, so we're going to go that way. And we do not color it in because it has to be bigger than 11, even if it's 11.0000000000001. All right, best of luck on the summative.